The goal of this game is no longer to win. So let's set the stage. You log on to Pokemon TCG, and the first thing you're greeted with is your daily challenges. You're looking them over, you notice, hey, there's a fairy type challenge. You know, I'd really like to get that fairy type coin. I want to get those extra rewards for that fairy type challenge. So you head over to the shop. You look for the theme decks because that's your favorite format. You got a stack of coins because you play it all the time. So you're like, let's buy the fairy deck. Let's look. So you scroll down. You keep going. You're like, where is this fairy deck? You keep going. You see, you pass the Pikachu and the Mewtwo deck from back when they did XY evolutions. You keep going. You keep going. You keep going. You keep going until you get down here. All the way back in 2013. The first, the last, the only fairy deck in the theme deck format. It is XY Resilient Life Xernias deck. And this deck is terrible. This deck is so bad that there are cards in here which actually hinder your performance. If we take a look at it, let's take a look at it. There are cards in here that do nothing. Spoink. There is no evolution to Spoink. It is a basic Pokemon with a 10 damage attack with 60 HP that can't evolve into anything. There's Jigglypuff. 20 damage. 70 basic. 2 energy cost. Okay, you got Mr. Mime here too. He's got a 2 energy attack that doesn't do any damage. It just restores life from one of your Pokemon. Remove 60 damage for 2 energies on an 80 HP basic Pokemon. You got a Slurpuff. Slurpuff is one of the better Pokemon. You only got one of them in the whole deck. Good luck finding it. You also got an Aromatisse, also only one of. Pumpkaboo, Phantump. Look at this, an Ekans, 70 HP basic Pokemon does also nothing. The only chance you have of winning this game is if you have your Xernias. You also have one Evo Soda, okay, a Max Revive, because who doesn't love putting Pokemon on top of their deck when you could be drawing anything else? Why not draw a Pokemon that already lost? Roller Skates, because who needs to draw cards when you can leave it to the coin flip? Super Potion, because discarding an energy is not that bad. 1 Professor Sycamore, 2 Torinos. This deck, it needs help. It needs help. But we're going to be playing it today. And we're going to see if we can win. I've already played this deck about 7 times. I haven't beat the challenge yet, get 750 damage, so maybe we'll be able to beat the challenge at least. Okay, we found an opponent. They are on the Dreadnought deck, so maybe we have a chance. This Dreadnought deck's not the most powerful thing. We have one of our basic Pokemon which evolves. Excellent. But we don't have any kind of supporters or anything here. So we're going to actually play the Pumpkaboo out front. It doesn't do any damage, and it doesn't have any evolutions, so it's kind of like wasting an energy. But it can give our opponent confusion. Okay, we got the Dodrio, so if we find a Doduo, that's good. We can confuse our opponents, which is very nice, It turns every turn into a coin flip. And who doesn't love leaving everything up to a coin flip, They don't have anything. We might get away with this. We might run away with this victory by some grace of God. we put the wrong energy. It's our own fault that we deserve to fail. We did this to ourselves. We also put this here so that way we can retreat and start doing damage. Oh, we can retreat and start doing damage. We're gonna retreat, and now we're gonna do 10 damage to this Cramorant. Tackle. For 10 damage there. Okay, you know what? We only need to get 750 damage to complete this challenge, and we're 10 out of the way. We are 10 out of the way. They got a Dan. Everything's crumbling around us. Scissors. Ooh, everything's crumbling. Everything is crumbling. Let's see if they have an energy. Maybe they'll even have another Pokemon. They've drawn a lot of cards. A Great Ball will find them another Pokemon. If they find a single Arrokuda and Oshawott, they probably have the whole Oshawott line in their hand. They've got so many cards up there and have done absolutely nothing this whole game. They've got another energy. They're going to just stall for the next 10 turns while we try to take this out. Mr. Mime is going on the bench. We're going to put a Psychic Energy here. We're going to go ahead and use Fairy Wind. 20 damage. That's 30 damage. Okay, that's almost a percentage of what we need to get done. Let's see how the Cramorant fares. Okay, they got the Arrokuda, so they can eventually continue to Sculpt Missile us. Unfortunately for us, this Cramorant has a 1 energy retreat cost, so once they get this fellow set up with 3 energies, this is just going away. And oh, they got a Betty too, so it's going away next turn. We're gonna get hit. We're gonna get hit next turn. I don't want that to happen, but we're gonna see how things go. I'm expecting just a pass. Yes, just a pass. Let's see if we get to stage 2. We got a Torino, thank goodness, one of the 2 in our deck. Oh, a Doduo. We can eventually get a Dodrio. Wow. Impressive, impressive. We'll get a Fairy and a Psychic Energy. We need both. We're going to start suiting up on the Dodrio, because we can do 20 damage for each damage counter on it. Or we can flip 2 coins and maybe do 90 damage. But that is better than flipping 2 coins and maybe doing 80 damage. So we will be setting up on the Doduo. Tackle. So these cards in our hand, the Ekans and the Spoink, they don't actually do anything. They do 10 damage and 20 damage respectively. So this deck was from a different time. This deck, I don't know if I said this in the intro, but this deck came out in 2013. And a lot of I think they stopped making theme decks back in 2020, 2021. But a lot of the theme decks that you see play, you know, the ones from Black and White, the ones from what was the newest one? Sun and Moon, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Sword and Shield. Sword and Shield is the newest one. Sword and Shield. The ones from Sword and Shields, Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon. Those decks, they have a different design philosophy. You know, they're along the lines of these decks. You know, but he's gonna retreat. He just has a switch. Okay, dude, that's overkill. Why do you gotta have the switch? They had a different design philosophy. You know, in the Black White, in the Ultra Sun, Ultra Moon, the Sword and Shield era, the design philosophy behind these decks was like, we want to make a deck that is both, it's good, but not too good. Like, we want to have decks that have clear synergies. We want to have decks that have almost no bad hands. You know, the theme decks have eliminated a lot of the variance. You know, there's a good amount of consistency in the theme deck. So when you start playing a theme deck, you know what you're going to be doing every game. But as compared to the 2013 preconditioned, pre-constructed design philosophy, there was a lot of differences. You know, back in these days, they were like, well, these are bad decks to get new players into the game. So instead of easing them into the mechanics, they had bad cards in there on purpose, so that way you would have to take them out, and then hopefully replace them with the good card down the line, so you buy more packs. But the new theme deck design philosophy I really like, because they really introduce you to the mechanics and the fundamentals of Pokemon in a way that the old theme decks like this one did not. We lose this game, in case you haven't picked up on that one already. There is 0% chance for us to win. We do 20 damage to their main Pokemon. So we're gonna let them. We're gonna just concede right here. We don't have to waste our time. And we're back. We found an opponent. They are on the Electric type introduction deck. I think it's Surging Storms. But this might be a fair matchup. This intro deck, I think the intro deck actually can fight a little bit stronger than we can. It's a very good intro deck. It's got a lot of strong basic Pokemon. This intro deck, we talked about design philosophy last round, but this intro deck was designed, I think, with the Ultra Sun or Ultra Moon design philosophy. It has a very modern design philosophy. You know, there's no real bad cards in it. I think there's only 1 or 2 Pokemon that don't really do anything, but they can in the late game. There's a lot of consistency. You know, there's a lot of ways to reduce variance in this deck. So I actually really like the design of the starter decks, the very first ones that you get when you start playing the game. They kind of evolve from like a deck like this to a deck like what they are. Do you evolve from this Spritzy? No, you don't. You evolve from the other one. Okay, that's fine. We'll play Mr. Mosho Mime from one of my benched Pokemon, so he cannot save himself. I do know, however, thankfully, that this deck doesn't have a Fearow, since we used to play this deck way back when. At least I think so. I think it might have a Fearow with like a 1 energy, 50 damage attack, drill pack. It sounds kind of familiar. Hopefully we're able to find a Psychic Energy so that way we can Poison Sting. But this feels like we got a fair matchup here. So let's hope we can win. This is our best chance of winning. Ekans is not a good card. We're going to put this on our Spritzy, since we cannot attack without a Psychic Energy. Unfortunately, we don't have too many ways to find a Psychic Energy, but let's see if they have the Fearow. They got the Fearow. They're going to put the Fearow God in my heart. They do. 30 damage. It's 1 energy for 30 damage. Not the worst. Okay. We have extra time to live. Psychic Energy would have been really clutch, but we'll take another Pokemon. Look at this. Look at this. This is a basic Pokemon with a 3 energy retreat cost. Like, that's just so hard to maneuver. I can't even believe it. They got a Stage 2 Pokemon, 1 energy retreat cost. Drill Run, I don't think it's going to come out, but they do have very light energy. They don't have any energies. Okay, so we're both kind of here. Unfortunately for us, our opponent is doing things, and we are not. We will get a Dodrio. Dodrio can Rage against this Sphero. Thank goodness. The Rage might actually do something for once. But let's see what our opponent's got. I'm expecting them to have something. This deck has a lot more supporters than our deck. They might have a Professor's Letter or something in there. But things are floundering around a bit. We're floundering around this game. But we both are. They can put an Electric Energy on their Pikachu. Really counterattack our Dodrio when it comes to that. But it looks like they're strategizing right now. They might have drawn something critical, or they're just thinking if it's worth it to kill my Venipede. They put the energy on the Pikachu, like we said, so they're going to be able to counterattack our Dodrio. They won't be able to kill it unless they have the Raichu. The Raichu's a very good card. We got a Psychic Energy just in time. I don't know what I'm going to do with this Psychic Energy. I honestly want to hold on to it in case we get another Pokemon that can use it. So in order to do that, well, we're going to actually put it on this Dodrio to threaten our opponent, so that way they have to start attacking us, otherwise we win the race. Because if they don't attack us ever, then we'll never be able to beat them. Since Rage requires our opponent to have damage counters on us. So we want to provoke them into attacking here. So that's why we're putting that energy there. I'd really rather have held the energies, because Psychic Energy is very rare in this deck, and we need it for our only Stage 3 Pokemon is the Scolipede. The Venipede would have been nice. They do have the Raichu, so Raichu will be able to take out our Dodrio on a counterattack, but not on an initial sweep. So if they might suit it up with 3 energies. Once it gets 3 energies, it's kind of done for. But they're using Peck. Peck's very good for us because Rage is going to do 60 damage back. We had the full evolutionary line for this Venipede, and we drew the Psychic Energy a little bit too late. That's alright, we will do, this is 10 more damage for each damage counter of this Pokemon, so this is 50 damage. Very good, it's nice 2-turn clock, letting them know that we mean business. Let's see how things go. We will die to this Raichu on a counterattack now. So I would really like if we can have this Spritzy do something that is not just die. Pokemon Fan Club is an excellent card. It's definitely a card that this deck could really use. Hope we can find our Xernias if we had it. But they're going to find some stuff. Kangaskhan's a very good one. Magnemite is a card that exists in the deck. They might just have the Magneton in their hand, but filling up that bench is also very good for this Raichu here. It does 20 times the number of bench Pokemon that they have. So this is going to do a 40 damage attack, unless they choose to hit us again. We will not be putting this Psychic Energy anywhere. We're not putting it anywhere. There's nothing that we can do. There's no Pokemon that needs 3, and this Rage attack is going to actually do just enough to take this out. It's going to do more than enough, actually. So we've got a prize card. Unfortunately, we haven't done any damage with our Fairy Pokemon to get that challenge done. We do have an Evo Soda for this Spritzy. Okay, that does make things a little bit different. I don't know what the Stage 2 Spritzy does. I've never gotten to that point. I never thought I'd get this far, to be honest. Let's see. They only have 1 energy, and they've been very energy light this entire game. No, dude, you don't concede, you win! Wow, okay. Okay, we won. All it took was our opponent playing the very first deck that you get when you lose in the game, and to have no energy. So we were able to take down that game. That's very impressive, but we still have not got our challenge done. We didn't do any fairy-type damage that game, actually. So we didn't even see it. If you guys enjoyed today's content, that fairy challenge is stupid hard. And it is not worth the 30 coins or the extra kind of trinkets that you get for playing it. I would recommend, if you do not play standard or any other kind of constructed with a fairy type deck, don't pick that challenge, dude. You're not gonna. It's an uphill battle. Look, even the box is different. It's a very big uphill battle to play with this Xernias deck. But I hope you enjoyed today's content. If you did, drop a like, leave a subscription, and leave a comment if you're feeling extra bold. But that's gonna be it for me today. So bye bye.